All right. Good morning, guys. Welcome in to Crypto Info, Blockchain Made Easy with your host, Frank the Crypto Tank. Love you guys. Welcome in this morning, early Colorado time, about 5:30 or so here. Well, we get her started early. We're going to get right into the news today. Let's go ahead and pull up our cryptocurrency market cap. Let me silence this phone. And let's get it rolling. We're at 3.33 trill. Down just a hair, I guess, huh? And fear and greed, just a little more into the fear, a little more into the buy zone. Not financial advice. Bitcoin, it had a 105.871, Ethereum 2,621, XRP in at $2.20. Down, we got some good buy ops here, huh? Look at that. What are we thinking about? Knowing that that's $220, and the opinion of this one, probably in about 3 years or so, that's like $220, $220 or so, maybe 5 years. It could be faster. That's impossible. You realize how much money is not enough money in the world, Frank, to come in. Sorry for granny voice. Yeah, how stupid. Not meaning the people that say that, meaning how stupid the concept to not understand, how ignorant to not understand how thin liquidity works. Let me explain that real quick. Let's cover that real quick. Really good crypto, tall guy tycoon. Pretty cool dude who's on the internet, been doing it for a while. Love that guy. He's awesome. Shout out tall guy tycoon. Really cool format and everything. And we love that guy. And he covers an episode on thin liquidity. And he talks about how if there's 20 houses in a real estate, check this video out of this dude. It's cool. You just search it. Search those exact words and YouTube will find it for you. Or search it on Google first and then type in YouTube, and then Google will find the exact YouTube video for you. Right? So go ahead and find this dude. He's awesome. Tall Guy Tycoon. This certain video discussing thin liquidity. So thin liquidity, of course, is that initial when a market first starts off, and it's like your initial. It's similar, I think, to your initial your batting average for the season when you start off, and you're like, oh my gosh, look at this. I got a hit. I got a hit. Oh my, I'm batting 1,000. It's awesome. And your fourth time, fifth time, whatever, you strike out and it gets averaged in and you're like, oh my God, I like really whaled my average. What the hell just happened? And you get another hit or you get a home run. You're like, oh my God, I really increased my average. Because you've got thin liquidity going on. You don't have a lot of averages averaged in yet. So each one that comes about then will affect that outcome so much when it gets tallied in, right? When you have like 10,000 at bats already, you have it at bat. Either way, it doesn't affect you that much, right? Sorry for high voice this morning, but let's just use our heads, okay? So this is what happens. And the same thing, it's like a thin liquidity thing. That batting average is the same thing with markets, same thing with the crypto market. This is going to level out. It's not going to be so volatile and go so up and down so harshly, right? Once it has so much averaged in or so much money in the crypto market or so many at-bats. Does that make sense? It's kind of what we're dealing with here. I think I'm explaining this properly. Just trying to tie in these two analogies, or actually three, as it were, with Tall Guy Tycoons. Again, love that dude. Check him out and check this video out of his. He explains it nicely. I'll get back to it. So he's like, there's 20 houses in a real estate market. They're each worth $500K. All of a sudden, like one goes and sells, in that tiny little neighborhood of 20 houses, one goes and it's isolated from other markets and it's a special niche and they're very expensive homes. So one goes and sells now not for $500K, but it sells for $1 million or whatever it is. Because there's only 20 houses in there, that drastically changes the comps on all the rest of the houses in that area, doesn't it? When we're talking real estate. So versus if there were 10,000 houses in that neighborhood, and now one goes and sells for double the price or whatever, what's it really going to do? As far as the fact, there's too many averages batted in with averaged in with the batting, too many at bats averaged in with that batting average. So, yeah, that's what we're dealing with. And that's what we're dealing with something like XRP, to get back around, to spin it back around with the folks, to use grandma voice. Frank, that could never happen. You realize how much money in the world you'd have to go into XRP. Do you realize what kind of market cap it'd have to have? Yeah, I do. Do you? It's not as much as what you're thinking. Oh, God, I forgot the numbers. Somebody just did a video on the other day. All us XRP folks know what I'm talking about right now. It takes like X millions of dollars to send the market cap up of XRP, like billions. It's silly shit. It's just the way that it works. So, no, that is not true. It does not require the money that folks, when they say that, is particularly Bitcoin maxis that are saying that, they're actually not correct. They will be way down the road as enough is in and enough at bats are averaged. But right now it's a thin liquidity situation. Sorry for getting loud, because people are kind of just not, they're not using their heads. They're not dumb. They're smart people. They're in crypto. How dumb could they be? They saw it before me. A lot of these people. I'm not saying I'm smarter than them. I am saying they're okay. So here's what we do, right? Then we put up a little learning block for ourselves, a little ego learning block. I know what there is to know on that subject. I got it. I know that. Really? Do you really? This person over here didn't do that. Kept learning on that topic. Now is an absolute ridiculous master on that topic, head and shoulders above you who decided to say, no, I'm good. I know about that topic. I know. And you stopped your learning and your research on it. This is what we do. So anyway, hats off to folks who did not see the truth about XRP. Hats off to folks who did not see the truth about Bitcoin and Ethereum, including me. That's why I bought a bunch, even though I think they're old dinosaurs that need to go away eventually, which they will. But for right now, this is an honest channel. We're honest. We say the truth. We're about data points and what things are. We try to keep the emotion out of it. I like a little inflection in the voice and having some fun. Not really coffee. Keep myself level. Don't do coffee. Quit that a couple years ago because just too high and low. I'll have one every once in a great while, but that's how I'm able to keep my mind level, my emotions level and straight. Almost the whole world is hooked on coffee. If we stop to think about this, a drug sending the emotion up and down and up and down. Yeah, just like a mushroom tea is all this is, Joey, and meditate, which is date. There's like 5,000 something, I guess, species of dates. Very interesting. And they chose, I think, like 4 or 5 of them. And this is totally delicious and awesome. And after 6 weeks or so of being an absolute bitch to my wife, coming off the coffee, one of the hardest things I have ever done in my life, being hooked on it from the age of 18. This is what people don't realize. Coffee's hijack the adrenaline system. And so it's needed every single day. And it was needed by me. But break that fix and watch how the mind works more evenly and clearly and cleanly over time, allowing one to do things like, not financial advice, invest better over a period of time, because the mind is clear and even and not hyped up and then down from coffee as it's power pellet that's required every day. Not required anymore. This is the power pellet. Anywho, yeah, saying that because, my gosh, not for everyone, of course. Enjoy your coffee. Me, coffee not for me. Speaking personally, enjoy your coffee. I really mean that. I'm not saying people need to stop coffee. There is a truth, though, that it hijacks the adrenaline system, and the mind is much more evenly thought over time and able to focus much more clearly and keep even levels of energy versus crazy bursts that coffee provides and then crashes. We know the truth of this. Yeah, there is truth in that. I thought it couldn't be smart enough if I didn't have coffee. And by the way, it is true, when I have a coffee, oh my God, super genius for like 3 hours. Mind on super fast thinking power mode, and then crash, and I'm a stupid dummy walking around like a zombie. I don't prefer it. XRP down 9.16% on the week, guys, and 4.15% on the day. Not financial advice. That is when people like me buy Stellar XLM 27 cents. Again, down 9%. Look at Chain down 14% on the week, more than 8% on the day. Good old Chain Link. Yeah, because we were at like 15 something each day I've been reading. Hedera down to 17 cents. Getting some buy-ups here. I wonder if these buying opportunities are going to continue over the next couple days with this little retrace here. We've got a healthy retrace happening. This is to be expected. We want this. Bitcoin will be shooting back up, and so will the rest of the market. Those of you who know. That's what I mean about the emotions. The emotions will let us start to, like with coffee, it'll start to let us just like, yeah, but that guy said it. I heard it, and I trust that guy. Instead of being like, I'm not going to. Okay, so I'm not saying emotions aren't great. I'm not saying that. But isn't it interesting how they're the killer oftentimes? What happens when people get hacked with crypto? What are they doing with these phishing emails and whatever? What are they doing? What are they designing these emails and texts and things they send? They're designing them. This is true. They're designing them. Those who know crypto, be careful too, by the way, of these phishing scams. What they're doing is they're designing them so that the very onset of what they're sending you is emotional, riddled with emotional like thoughts and stuff about to scare the shit out of you, to be like, oh my God, I gotta act, instead of reading the rest of it and be like, wait, that doesn't kind of really make sense, which you would if you kept your mind and you didn't, get all emotional about it. But they're designed specifically at the very beginning in the meat of it to get you emotionally reacted. The emotion is the killer. And then you go and you quickly go and you go on and you make the move and you screw up and you lose your crypto, instead of saying, wait, I think that could have been a phishing. Let me just see. You go on your own, onto your account, you go check, you see everything is fine, you see that was horseshit. And by the way, be careful. People are also sending, scammers are also sending what look like legitimate letters from Uphold, whatever, all these, and you think that it's real, and you go and call the number on there, whatever, and you're giving up your crypto. Never give your keys to anybody. Never be responding to any of this stuff. Always go onto your own platform yourself, freshly. It's kind of weird to say that like that. Just fresh. Go on yourself, onto your own. Always. That's all you ever do. Only. Okay? We're here to educate. We're here to help. I'm here to try to help you to sidestep landmines. I can't always do that, and I can never be blamed, because the channel is not for financial advice. It is simply for entertainment and educational purposes only. We'll lay out research and data points. Your responsibility is to go check it out, what we're saying, see if it's true or not, internalize it yourself, and if you decide to make financial moves, that's completely your business. This is not a financial advice channel. Never was, never will be, never has been, never gonna be. Because it just ain't legal, so I ain't doing it. So anyway, okay, let's move forward on some news today. Let's first jump back to the stream we've been sharing. We're going to make it a pretty short episode today. I do want to clarify, though, that although it's not financial advice, which it isn't, we're still going to lay out financial scenarios of what could have been, scenarios that could have played out if money was taken and put down on certain coins at certain periods of time, and then, of course, pulled out at certain periods of time. I'm into the long-term hold thing, but we only have the money on paper until we actually cash out. It's the cash out that matters. That's why I want to think about Caleb and Brown, which is a full-service concierge, 24-hour, 24/7 crypto brokerage firm. They're completely awesome, based out of Australia. And no, it's not an issue being out of Australia. I wondered that when I first was looking at them, so I know everybody thinks about that. Australia's financial regulations are tighter than the U.S., and there's no concern with the back and forth with U.S. versus Australia. Do they like them or not? They play well nicely together, and they play well nicely with my bank too. So no issues. Caleb Brown is awesome. You might want to think about checking them out. You get your personal broker 24/7, and you set your buys and your sells ahead of time. You have them ready for when price targets are hit. They immediately lock in. You cash out the dollar amounts you wish to. You don't have limits like other platforms have these limits of what you can cash out kind of like per day. And I know you guys know that. You're not dealing with that with Caleb. You want to cash out a couple mil, go ahead and cash out a couple mil. Done. Boom. Wire transfer done. You want to be careful to establish the relationship with your bank first. You want to do a test of a smaller amount, create a track, but then there's no issues with playing ball with the bank, with a good crypto-friendly bank. There's some banks that don't like the old crypto still. I have friends who try to connect, and like Frank, I went to the bank, and I went to another bank, and they don't like crypto. Yeah, well, this is what's going on. Yeah, some banks don't like the crypto, some do. We got to check and see which banks like crypto and what banks don't before we play ball with crypto and credit unions. We always have to do that. We've got to do our own research always, right? Why would we not do that? Let me get back to let's get to some news today. How about that? What? SEC drops Binance lawsuit after crypto exchange lists Trump's stablecoin. Securities and Exchange Commission dropped a lawsuit against Binance on Thursday, days after the crypto exchange began listing a stablecoin created by World Liberty Financial, one of President Trump's blockchain ventures. All right, key facts. These are facts. Trump and his family control about 60% of World Liberty Financial through an LLC, and he is listed as both the decentralized finance platform's chief crypto advocate and inspiration, according to its website. Also, on May 22nd, World Liberty Financial announced that its USD1 stablecoin, a cryptocurrency whose value is pegged to the US dollar, started trading on Binance, the world's largest crypto exchange. Point 3, Binance admitted in a November 2023 plea deal to anti-money laundering and sanctions violations, agreeing to pay $4 billion. Co-founder Changpeng Zhao. The name is, and I don't know if I'm saying that right, and we call him CZ, but why would you do that, and why would you shorten it, and why would you deny yourself the ability and the opportunity to say, Jingbang Zhao? Also pleaded guilty, paid a $50 million fine, and was sentenced to 4 months in prison. Ow. In late April, a few weeks before USD1 began trading on Binance, Jingbang Zhao applied, is that right? Jingbang Zhao? Am I saying that right? Because I'm not trying to be funny either. I want to. You know how when you'll hear, like, for instance, an Asian person will be like, Donald Trump, Georgia. And it's so funny. Or like a Mexican is saying, whatever. Yeah, so it's like me, I'm speaking English, and all of a sudden I went, Jingbang Zhao. And I think that's acceptable. I'm not trying to be funny. Applied for a pardon from Trump's Justice Department, he said on a recent podcast. On Thursday, the Securities and Exchange Commission voluntarily dismissed its lawsuit against Binance that accused it of failing to... Whoa! I did that because the SEC loves to accuse you. You did this wrong. Now I'm going to dump you over and you give me your lunch money. And then all your lunch money falls out of your pocket and they have you dumped upside down. And then you did that wrong thing. Thanks for the dough. It's a lawsuit against Binance that accused it of failing to restrict high net worth individuals from the platform. You didn't do it. Give us the big money now. Thank you. We'll fill the coffers. Misleading investors about you misleaded investors, said the SEC about them, that this is what they were doing. Binance, you're misleading investors about trading controls and commingling funds that you routed to a third party. A judge had put the case on hold in February following a joint request by both parties. Spokespeople for World Liberty Financial and the Trump Organization did not immediately respond to inquiries. A spokesperson for, if I don't bring it down, I get too crazy. Excuse me, a spokesperson for the White House declined to comment on the record. The SEC declined to comment beyond the statement it put out announcing its decision, and in a statement provided after publication, a spokesperson for Binance's U.S. subsidiary said the ruling confirmed what they knew all along, in quotes, that the company did not violate U.S. security laws, end quote. I'm smiling because, boy, are we having fun this morning. All right, let's get over to more news. U.S. Senate advances Genius Act, long-awaited stablecoin framework edges closer to reality, says Chainalysis team. Too long didn't read. This is the problem with the world. I will say the problem. Come on. What a blanket, ridiculous thing to say, Frankie. All right, here's one of the ways the world has turned into a direction that may not be so awesome for the world. It's the lazy TLDR thing. It's the quick fix. I need it fast. And if it's not, you're being stupid and dumb. And even socially, you're unaccepted. You're not accepted. If socially, it's not cool. If you're not succinct and poignant and fast and you're not socially, it's not socially acceptable. It turns into TLDR, too long didn't read. You know what I'd say that is? Lazy horseshit from the people now, the humans now, as of the past decades, has turned into TLDR. TLDR means you're not doing your research. It's exactly what that means. It means it has to be too long and you do read. That's what research means. The TLDR means you're not doing your research. It's a way to control the humans. You're not seeing the truth, are you, about this? World. I think some people do. Very few, and I'm not being a conspiracy-minded person. Think about this. If we do too long didn't read and need fast little bits and and that's all we will ever accept and do, and our minds are trained that way, then we can't do the deep dive rabbit hole research thing and learn the truth about things and become enlightened rather than being ignorant. Is this, I didn't say anything that wasn't true. Let's wake up, people, please. TLDR. It's become cool to say TLDR. TLDR means you're being lazy and you're missing the point. You're getting the wool pulled over your eyes and whipped around like a freaking wet dish rag. Wake the hell up, people. I love you. Trying to help you. Get deep into research. Too long, definitely did read. Put another D in there. That means I research deep. You should too. Excuses to be lazy. The United States Senate has broken a filibuster and advanced the Genius Act, the first comprehensive federal framework regarding stablecoins. The bill is now headed to the Senate floor. What I just said is why people don't read crypto. That stuff's stupid. It's gibberish. I can't understand. How about turn your mind down and quit trying to pretend like you're dumb and put your smart thinking cap on? You could be smart. You could do, with the total market cap of stablecoins hovering around $232 billion and growing. If I could be smart, believe me, you could be smart. The bipartisan bill sets standards for reserves, audits, disclosures, and law enforcement compliance. Chainalysis' advanced blockchain tooling can help issuers and regulators operationalize. Ooh, that's a cool word. It's not really a big word or anything. It's just not a often heard. Operationalize. I'm not making fun either. It's cool. Compliance and enforcement under the new law. In a 66-32 vote, we covered a video on this and said it a million other people. The United States Senate has defeated a filibuster. Oh, what an awesome word, too. It's filibuster. It's just a great word. Advancing the guy sounds like a fighting term planted into the political arena. Advancing the guiding and establishing national innovation for U.S. stablecoins, or the Genius Act. So they call it the first comprehensive federal regulatory framework for stablecoins. The Bipartisan Genius Act, some may or may not know, so we'll cover it again. The Bipartisan Genius Act will provide regulatory clarity to this important industry. Now I am going to try to speak more clearly the way my awesome, well-regarded Coloradan, and I love this guy, Brian Brooks, former head of the OCC, Office of Controller of the Currency, and I think he was, wasn't he Binance guy or Coinbase guy or something, CEO? Anyway, I love this guy, BitTorrent, I think. Anyway, Brian Brooks, you want to talk about a prolific, incredible speaker who enunciates so clearly he can be heard around the world. I will try to enunciate more clearly because I hear myself in here and I am being very marbly mouth mumbly. Let me take a sip so I can help my efforts. The Bipartisan Act will provide regulatory clarity to this important industry. Keep innovation onshore, add robust customer protection, and reaffirm the dominance of the U.S. dollar, said Senator Kristen Gillibrand, Democrat from New York. Sorry, guys. If I saw that ahead of time, I wouldn't. Who co-sponsored the bill along with Senator Bill Hagerty? Republican from Tennessee, Chairman Tim Scott, another Republican from South Carolina, and Senator Cynthia Lummis. You know I love you, Cynthia. I dogged you a little bit the other day because your Bitcoin shenanigans. I don't appreciate that. I don't think that's being cool. I do love you, though, Cynthia, and I think you know that. Republican from Wyoming, major digital asset advocate, Senator Lummis, thank you so much. Do appreciate you. I like to dog everybody. You're gonna have to everybody takes it from me. And but I love everybody, and I do it in a loving, hugging way. Is it possible to punch somebody in the mouth nicely? And Senator Angela. The name is true. It's also Brooks. It's not another name that's Brooks. The name is also Brooks. It's one actual full name, also Brooks, not making fun. How cool. But the only thing is Democrat from Maryland. Well, what are you going to do? You can't have everything. The legislation arrives at a time of historic growth for the stablecoin ecosystem, as stablecoins now account for the majority of on-chain transaction volume. Yeah, adjusted transaction volume by asset type laid out right here from January 2023 to April 2025. Look at it. So without coffee, I have to kind of like make up that excitement, right? Like it's there for me, but just coffee, it's like they're always like just being a freak show, right? On coffee. This is controlled, and when I want to do a freaky, exciting thing, a rant, I do it, and it's under my volition, king of my domain. Without the drug. Anyway, charting the rise of stablecoins. I'm really going on this stop coffee thing. People are probably like, screw you, I'm not stopping coffee. F you, Frank. I hear you 100%. I would say the same thing. And I did. Introduced in 2014. Let's remember to speak properly like Brian Brooks does, not making fun. Being genuine. Stablecoins were designed to combine the stability of fiat currencies with the speed of transparency of blockchain. While initially used for crypto trading, use cases have expanded greatly, with fiat-pegged stablecoins now powering cross-border payments, serving as a store of value and unlocking global access to U.S. dollar-dominated assets. Since 2020, in particular, stablecoins have seen significant growth, in both issuance and adoption, with the total market cap approaching $232 billion as of May 2025. Now, market cap of all stablecoins here from 2017 in December to May 18, 2025, to be very specific on one day. Here's what our chart looks like. Beyond market cap growth, we can also visualize how the role of stablecoins is expanding. The use case index below, of course, tracks stablecoins across three primary functions: as a store of value, trading instrument, third data point, a payment tool. And here they are tracked below. Let's just check this chart real quick. So we're not being lazy and we're being researchers. We like to research. Okay, stablecoin use case index here below. Store of value, trading, and payments are the three data points. And here we are tracking time running here. Okay. Interesting. Store of value index, of course, staying relatively flat. What you would think. All right, I bore of this. Let's get over to some other news. I'm sure you do too. Oh, let's get over to the chat right quick, guys. We're looking good, as we would be. Let's do the screen share and get back. Okay. Here we go. Vivo, I don't know, my voice just squeaked like that, like a little girl. That was funny. VivoPower. VivoPower announces XRP focused digital asset treasury strategy and US $121 million private placement priced at United States $6.05 per share above last market closing price under NASDAQ rules, right, for what the price was of XRP. So VivoPower, which is it's a power company. I know that. Anyway, we'll get into, I think, who they are real quick. Ow, my knee just cracked. This is their site. VivoPower announces XRP-focused digital asset treasury strategy and US $121 million private placement based on recent price. Let's get this. Capital raise led by His Royal Highness, and I'm going to go for it. We have all been trying this, and we all mean no offense. We were trying to say your name properly, sir. I'm pretty sure this will be pretty close. Pretty sure it is something like Prince Abdulaziz bin Turki bin Talal Al Saad. I don't think it's Saad because I think that's Siad. Al Saad. I think it's Al Saad of Saudi Arabia. I'm pretty sure that's correct. Going for it one more time. Prince Abdulaziz bin Turki bin Talal Al Saad of Saudi Arabia. I think that was a pretty good run right there. I hope I'm doing you justice, sir. We're going to get this name because you have decided to dip your feet into the XRP community playground in a large way, sir. We tip our hats off to you and thank you for getting this ball rolling. Anybody thank you yet? Like that? Genuinely. Let's thank this gentleman, please. Adam Trademan, former Ripple board member and CEO of SBI Ripple Asia, has also invested and joined as chairman of the board of advisors. Thank you for jumping on board, Mr. Trademan, and getting this snowball rolling down the hill. Just a little more. VivoPower, believed to be the first public company in the world, executing on an XRP-focused digital asset treasury and decentralized finance strategy. Funds raised will be used to buy and hold XRP, building out the treasury and DeFi team, as well as for debt reduction and working capital. Oh, freaking cool. VivoPower is pleased to announce that it has reached agreement with certain investors in relation to a private capital raise priced at $6.05 per share above the last market closing price of $6.04 under NASDAQ rules. In connection therewithin, the company has entered into securities purchase agreements with the investors for the purchase and sale of an aggregate of 20 million ordinary shares of the company at a price of $6.05 per share for aggregate gross proceeds of approximately $121 million US before deducting placement agent fees, of course, and other offering expenses, of course. Excuse me. The private offering was spearheaded by His Royal Highness Prince Abdulaziz bin Turki bin Talal Al Saad. Shit, I almost had that perfectly, I'm pretty sure, without the dialect being proper. But damn it, I almost had that one. Son of a... Chairman, to throw a Farley reference, I just didn't slap my lap. Chairman of 11th Holding Company in Saudi Arabia, with participation from a number of other prominent digital asset industry investors, institutions, as well as the investment office of VivoPower Chairman Kevin Chin. When we discussed yesterday, when we covered this, yesterday morning, VivoPower is believed to be the first publicly listed company in the world to launch an XRP-focused digital asset treasury strategy that also encompasses the contribution to building out the XRPL ecosystem for real-world decentralized finance blockchain solutions. Thank you for helping us get this ball rolling once again. XRP is expected to be one of 5 digital assets that will be accumulated by the U.S. government as part of President Donald Trump's recently announced strategic Bitcoin reserve and United States digital asset stockpile. And why would you... So it's because Bitcoin is going to be the main thing in the reserve, and that's why we're calling it Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. Is that why? I'm guessing that's why. Just thinking about how I do and don't like Bitcoin, and how I honestly do and don't like it, and what it is, and without emotion about it, what it truly, just the facts and pros and cons of it and everything else. And, do I like it as the store of value being held by the government as a separate private thing, as long as it, the 51% scenario can't happen, and it can't be hacked into, and it's secure, and it's awesome. And then in that way, I love the old Bitcoin to be held as a reserve, as a big old stockpile. I still think the connection with USDT needing to hold United States Treasury's connection, being so tied with Bitcoin like that, I don't know how much I dig that. That's a real thing that we all want to keep not talking about. I want to talk about that. That's a real thing that we all need to discuss, the USDT connection of needing to hold United States Treasury reserves and its connection with Bitcoin. Talk about that. Somebody please bring that up. Somebody please, besides me, that I keep shouting that everybody wants to sit. I don't like an elephant sitting in a room and nobody wants to talk about that. That is like the trait with me since I was a kid. I've always been the pain in the ass, where the adults are like, "Who let this freaking kid in the room?" Where something has been said by me, literally 6 years old, and I'm like, "Why are you guys doing this?" Boom, boom, boom. In the church, in the everywhere, and the adults going, "Who let this little freaking shit in here, spitting the truth about the elephant sitting in the room that we're all trying to not talk about? Who let this kid in?" Still doing it as an adult. And then you get the weird laugh. Frank crazy, yo. All right, let's get into some other shit. There really isn't any other shit today. That's it. It's the only shit we got. All right, we're closing this biatch out. Crypto info, blockchain made easy with the Tanker. Enjoy your day today all over this great world. Over in UK, Australia, Canada, South Africa, all these folks around the world watching the channel in small amounts, in small, tiny little spatterings. Thank you for supporting. We love you. Don't forget to check Caleb and Brown down below. Our link down below, you click that, you get connected. You at least talk to them and do some research. I mean, that would be the first step. You don't call them and just sign up right away. You don't need to. And none of this is ever financial advice, and we do love you. And tap that like and subscribe if you don't mind down at the bottom, please. And please have a stellar day today. Enjoy yourselves, whatever you're doing, even if it's hard work, which it usually is. That's why we're trying to invest to free ourselves, but we'll check you next time. Crypto Tank later.